morning. The topic that I chose today is something that I feel very strongly about because being a mom and a wife, I feel like it's very prominent in my household, and it's something that I feel like is very prominent in most households, and it's something that needs to change. So what I want to focus on is technology is running today's families. Now, before I dive in, I'm going to ask you guys a few questions. You don't have to answer, but just kind of think of things. As you're sitting here right now, where is your cell phone? Is it in your lap? Is it next to you? Are notifications going off and you really want to check them? Where is it related to you? Where is it normally related to you? I'm also asking you, when you're sitting here, are things normally on? Is the television on? Are iPads on? Are cell phones normally on? Are your families normally on them? How often are you sitting around and everyone is on their cell phones? Now, as I said, I'm asking you this because in 2014, there's a Nielsen study that showed that adults 18 years and older were on their phone 11 hours out of the day. That means, and then we had teens are on their phone 9 hours out of the day, and tweens are on their phone 6 hours out of the day. There was also a study that showed that 20% of 5-year-olds are placed in a separate room on a daily basis with an iPad or a computer placed in front of them to keep them company. And this all does sound like a lot, but when you take into account that the average American is up 16 to 18 hours a day, the average kid, your teen, tween, they're in class 7 to 8 hours a day, punch in all those numbers, that gives you approximately 30 minutes, pushing at maybe an hour of quality family time that could be spent together. Now, that's not even taken into consideration your personal time, using the restroom or whatever. That's not taken into that. So that is all wiped out. So therefore, there is zero family time spent together because of technology. This is, like I said, this is a lot. But there was also a study in 2016 by Dr. Richard House. He's a British psychologist. He asked 23 young students. He said, would you be interested in doing a 2-week trial? Let's put an app on your phone, and I would like to see how often you check your cell phones, how often you're on your smartphones, how much time is spent on your cell phones. They put an app on their phone, and they said before they put the app on their phone, if you could just take a guess, how many times a day you actually pick up your cell phone. Once the app was placed, they did their 2-week trial. Out of all these students, the 23 students, the average amount of time that they picked up their cell phone was 85 times a day. Now, out of those 85 times, 55% of the time were 30-second short spans, and that's called habitual checking. That means when you're sitting there and you're watching a show, someone is speaking to you, you're just bored, you have nothing else to do, you pick up your phone and just start swiping through, just out of pure habit. That habit is now spent on our cell phones instead of looking at a family member, looking at your spouse, looking at your child, and having an actual conversation. And that is why it is taking over America's households. It is now they've said that is now the new drug of the 21st century, is technology. It's taken over, it's taken parents away from children, it's taken spouses away from one another, it's taken over our families. Now, I actually did put a new app on my phone 2 days ago. It's called Realize. It's REALIZ, capital D. It does the same thing. I put an app on my phone. I've been checking it. It made me aware of how often I'm getting on my phone because it tells me how many times I've picked up my phone in that day. It actually adds up all the amount, like how long I've actually been on my phone. And not only that has it made me aware, but it's tried to help me stay off it because I really don't want to be attached to my phone. So that's something that I would ask everyone to do, just because if you care about it or not, I don't think that your numbers are even as close as what you're actually doing. And even on that, you have just the average American, but also if you're a business owner, you need to double that number, how I had the students picking up their phone an average of 85 times per day. Business owners are double that. So they're 50% more on their phone. Now, as I was doing my research, I was going through different sites, and there was a blog. His name was Manny. He was talking about the negative effect technology has had on his family. He's a father, he's a spouse and he has a small child. He said that, home, they've been away from each other due to work for 9 to 10 hours that day. He said that they are placing their young son in front of the television or in front of an iPad to keep him company while they start dinner or they check social media. They're getting on their emails again. After they've just left work for 10 hours, they're getting back on and they're checking their emails. It's made him realize, he said, his spouse and I, they've talked about it, he said, we've realized that when our child is older, we're going to look back and think of how much we regretted not spending that time with them. It was just insignificant. Things that we didn't even care about. We were too busy checking other people's lives on social media, getting in touch with people that really, they have nothing to do with us, instead of sitting down with our child, our spouse, asking how their day was, just reconnecting. And so that's one thing that he said that they're really going to try to work on, he actually already regrets it. And then if you think about it, if you're lucky enough to get quality family dinner time together, it's pretty rare these days. But most families now, that's interrupted because you have your cell phone sitting right next to you or in your lap. So they're either getting checked, and you have a television on. It's very, very, very rare that you actually have a conversation, uninterrupted, technology-free, and they're saying that it's actually, for the child's development, quality family dinner time is needed. It's very needed, just for their development. And there was a study, actually in 2014, it was posted in the Daily News, but it was conducted by the Boston Medical Group. They researched 55 parents at a fast food restaurant where they were sitting at a fast food restaurant with their child who was 10 years of age or younger. 1 out of 3 of these parents were on their smartphone the entire time. They also noted that when the parents actually looked up from their smartphone, the child was trying so hard to get their parents' attention and to have a conversation right before they went back down to their smartphone. How they just were yearning for that attention. And let's see, so they said that, once again, that was just, they're craving the attention. And we sit here and we're blaming all our kids for being so self-centered, so addicted to technology, have no idea how to have a conversation, how to look someone in the eye and have a conversation, when in actuality, it's the parents' fault. We have these parents that are just so worried about everything else, staying connected, that we're not taking the time to teach our kids. We're not being responsible. We're not being the examples which we should be. You can't tell your kids to stay off social media, to look someone in the eye when they're speaking, and you don't do it. And so that's one of the things that I was looking at is what can you do, what small changes can you make in your household to try to work on your family, maybe implement it in other aspects. And that was one of the things, just as a parent, be the example. Make sure that if you want to have quality family time, put your cell phone away and you say, okay, this is our time. Absolutely not under any circumstances will the television be on, or will any cell phones be answered. They will all be turned off. It's 20 minutes at the most. Everyone sit together until the last person is there. Don't, because they have found that people are rushing off from dinner to go be on their social media. They're not even getting that 5-10 minute time because they're too worried about the text that just came up, and it's just they have to check it right away. Not only is it affecting families, but it's also affecting spouses when it's taken into the bedroom, when it's, their conversations are all constantly interrupted. And so that's just one of the things. Be an example. Also is you want to set boundaries. Like I said, if you say no ifs, ands, or buts, television is not on, cell phones are not on, that's how it is. Teach your kids to value people more than technology. Put away the devices. You want to teach them that eye contact is important. It doesn't matter if you have a text coming up, if your spouse is talking, if your child is talking, that can wait. That can wait. And teach your child that. You don't want them to be rude. We constantly talk about our kids being rude and having no respect. We're showing them no respect because when they're trying to speak to us and we get something, we immediately look down instead of keeping our focus on them. But I don't want to even say that kids should be the focus. Our world doesn't revolve around our kids or our spouse even. But at the same time, we do also need to teach them that it's important that give them the respect. When someone is speaking, give them respect. They also said another thing that you say with the kids, with their technology, you break it, you buy it. Set a boundary. You know, you break this, I don't care how much it is, I will not replace it because it's not that important. If you would like to go work and that's something that's really important to you, then you can work and work and work and work and you can buy it. But we will not replace anything like this because it's not important. In the end, it's not important. They also are saying that set the boundary that no devices before sleep. It's shown that any kind of device, it stimulates your mind, and it's not only making these kids are not able to fall asleep, but they're not able to stay asleep because their minds are going. So if you could limit any type of technology, television, iPads, cell phones, anything at least an hour before bedtime, it will help their sleep patterns. And also the last thing that they were saying is if you could opt for technology-free activities. Go on hikes, leave everything home. The main thing they said, if you could implement technology-free days in your home, that means everyone is off any type of technology